Hello and welcome to the Messages and Methods Livecast Live 2.0 live stream podcast hosted by Encore entrepreneurs Shelley and Toby Eunice. We inspire excitement for content creation and marketing your brand and business while answering all your technology and digital marketing questions. Join us as we interview experts who share their knowledge and experience to provide actionable tips to land more clients, nurture leads, and position yourself as an expert in your industry. Chat with Shelley and Toby live every Wednesday on YouTube or Facebook. All right, we are back, and we hope that things are working now. It's always interesting when Windows does an update because things change unexpectedly, and then you show up to do your live stream and you have to start over. And it's at moments like this that we discover that you must have resilience and a way through your technology issues and get to the other side to continue live streaming. And only the strong survive. So we are strong. We are back. We are ready to get started with Messages and Methods. And I'm your host, Shelley Carney.
If you guys hear, and I'm the co-host, Toby Eunice, I do want to spend just a couple of minutes here. I would appreciate it if that before the end of this show, you like our video. YouTube likes it. We get extra brownie points if you like our video. Share it with your family, your friends, your neighbors, your business associates, the entirety of your social networks so that we can grow the channel. And finally, if you are not already a subscriber, this would be the ideal time to click on that subscribe button every time. That way, every time we start a live stream, whether it's on time or not, you'll be made aware of it. And as a result, in the know. I also want to let you know that the Super Chat light is lit. If you'd like to make a little contribution to our project here, go down to the bottom of the chat window. You'll see a stylized but grayed out $, or perhaps even a dollar bill emoji. Click on that $, or dollar bill emoji, and the fine folks at YouTube will walk you through making a contribution from actually you can make 99 cents up to $500. We did get one of those once. So we're looking forward to the next one.
Yeah. We'll do a dance. If we get a super chat, dance time.
I can give you some music. Oh, I can't give you music. Yes, can I give you music?
Let's just get started with the presentation. I think
right.
People are waiting for it all day long for this.
Yeah.
All right.
So did I was paying attention to this to make sure we weren't garbled. Did you explain what happened?
Oh, no. So we tried coming on earlier, and the audio was messed up. And one of our viewers let us know that they couldn't understand what we were saying. So we had to reboot everything and start over and look for the trouble. And yeah, that's what we did. We fixed it.
Yeah.
So if you are having issues because Windows updates and then nothing's working, give us a call because we have some experience with that.
Yeah. So what I'll warn you of is Windows usually does their updates on Tuesday, the night between Tuesday and Wednesday. And so it behooves you, A, to leave your computer on so they can do the update. Otherwise, they do it at the next available opportunity. And two, when you see that they've updated, immediately restart your computer. And if, for example, you've got a critical live stream application, one that's important to you that requires audio or video, test it first after the update and before you go live to see if there's anything wrong. But that would be true if you're doing video editing. If you're doing audio editing, test everything first to make sure that Windows hasn't made some changes. We found out that it had. We just had to find out what was impacted.
What was it this time?
Yeah, what was it this time? So we're very cautious. We once had, and we still do have a video editing application. Windows made an update, and that video editing application that we paid for
didn't work after that.
Didn't quit working. Literally quit working.
It was like 4 months old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we had to wait until the software company, the provider, made whatever changes were necessary to have it start working with Windows again. And now it's working again, but it was very frustrating. We had to go back several generations in order to get it to work for us.
Right.
All right. You ready to do presentations?
Yes.
Did you tell people what we're talking about today?
Yes. We're talking about content management and distribution. This is our final installment for our Livecast Life series, and this will complete our book. So we'll be able to go through all the editing process and what do you call it? Put it
Production.
no, when you
Formatting.
formatting. I don't know why I wanted to call it profiling, but formatting is the correct word. And once that's formatted, we'll be uploading it to Amazon and put it up for sale. It's probably going to be available, I would say, April Fool's Day. Why not?
If you've got the editing part done, I can.
I'm already on chapter 6, so it's going to be about 15 chapters. And we'll have a lot of really great informational content in there, and it goes right along with all of these videos that we've made and the, of course, accompanying podcast. So whether you prefer to watch video, listen to the audio, or read it in a book format with accompanying downloadable worksheets and that sort of thing, you'll have all of that available to you.
And the ebook too. We'll do we'll do a Kindle book with it.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Of course.
So we should probably start thinking about the cover,
Yes.
since we're going to need to upload that as well.
We
So,
will. And if you have any suggestions for our cover for Livecast Life book, let us know.
so have we talked about the production process, what we go through in order to get from a bunch of text files to a book yet?
Yeah.
Have we? Okay. All right. I didn't want to be redundant.
It was early on in the book.
All right.
We're in content management now.
All right.
So what do you do? How do you get people to see all of your content? It's helpful if you can put it all in one place. The place that we found to put all of our content is called Podpage. And the podcast, this is especially made for podcasters. So the podcast directly goes into Podpage from the RSS feed once you've set up your site, which as you see here, it takes 5 minutes, and it was that quick. It imports all of your graphics and all of your information from your podcast. So if that's already been set up and been an ongoing thing for you, then this takes 5 minutes to set up.
You want to show? I'm sorry.
Then you can also add in your, you can show it. You can also add in your videos if you have videos, and you can add in your blog as well. So everything can be on one site. And as you can see, you can find our podcast here. It shows you all the different places you can listen to the podcast. Gives you some of our social media feeds as well. And then down at the bottom, you'll see information about Toby and Shelley. If you keep scrolling down, there we are. So you have all of these ways to connect with us there. And at the very bottom, you'll see the word reviews. And you can click on that and leave a review about our podcast and let us know what you think. At the very top, you can go back up and you see you can register as a guest on our show. So the Podpage really takes care of all of not just housing our content, but also ways that people can interact with us as podcasters. So I think it's done a really good job of setting it up for that.
One of the cool things about this register for a guest, we usually have to have the guest, we have to create a talent release and have the guest sign it. It includes that process in here as part of what Podpage does. We're very pleased with what Podpage has enabled us to do. And in addition to that, of course, it gives us the opportunity to put in links to all our other properties on the internet, as well as getting you to our store in case you want to buy some of our products or some of the products reviews or some of the books that we've published. So it's very complete product. We're very pleased with getting to use it. So
you want to keep that in mind when you are putting out, like we are, a live stream, a podcast, and a blog every week. Make it land in a place where everybody can find all types of your content. That way they get to choose. Would I prefer to read about it? Would I prefer to hear the podcast? Would I prefer to watch the video? And they can find it all in one spot.
it is very convenient, not only for your viewers. Oops, actually, we put a presentation.
The nice thing about Podpage is once you've given it the RSS feed and the YouTube channel link, then everything is automatic. Every time we post on those sites, it automatically is uploaded to Podpage. So we don't have to deal with all of that. Once it's set up, it's done.
So I did notice that. I didn't realize this was a feature, but it actually has a link to our live feed right in there as well. So
That's right.
it's very cool.
That's right. And you can find that at livecast.life. So, so what are we talking right there is the blogs, the podcast episodes, and the videos. So what comes after videos, podcast episodes, and blogs? We have a whole list of things you can still do with your content. And this is a list that gives you some ideas, but there are more things that I don't even have on here that you could probably come up with as you go through social media and you see things pop up. You say, well, gosh, there's something that I could make from the content I already have, and let me do that too. But here's some of the things that we do with our content, and then we recommend. You can make audiograms, social media posts, newsletter, and LinkedIn articles. Connecting, you want to make sure you connect and share your links with your guests. You want to collaborate with people to cross promote. We've made compilation books, and we're in the middle of doing another one. And we can also make course and membership materials from our content.
We're actually in the middle of making 2 new
Mhm.
books.
That's right. So let's talk about audiograms. What is an audiogram? How do we make one? We go into Canva, and then we create a square background. You can tell it you want to make an Instagram post, and it gives you a square blank background. And then you can find templates in Canva that you can use to build your own background for your audiogram. Once you have that background created, then you can drop that into Descript. So we have already uploaded our audio into Descript to transcribe it, and then we can bring in that square background that we made in Canva and add in the waveform, the text, and then when we have it the way we like it, we can export that as a video, and it can be less than a minute long. It can take a piece of the conversation that was really good, or if you can't find, the back and forth that you're looking for, you can cut and paste pieces of your conversation and make it what you want it to be in Descript. And then you just optimize those edit points so that it sounds like
It's a
it was
conversation.
originally made that way. It was originally that conversation, and you can leave out the the ums and the ahs, or you can leave out the preamble if there's too much of that. You can cut just the pieces that you want, fit them together, make a really good audiogram that's entertaining for people to watch, and then it tells them where to go to find more information. So right there you see livecast.life.
So what can they do with these audiograms once they've created one?
Well, you can post them all over social media. You can share them with, if you had a guest, you could share that in a media kit with your guest, and they could share it on their social media. And Instagram is a great place for it because people see things like this there a lot. And Facebook is a good place for it. You could, if you wanted, you could put it as a YouTube short. You could put it on TikTok if that's what you want to do. Is anywhere that takes short form video.
And it's a good idea to make your audiogram less than 60 seconds for a variety of reasons. That's about what your audience can tolerate in terms of listening time, but also most of the short form applications like Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube Shorts limit you to 60 seconds. So a good idea to keep them at that. But they are very useful because, as Shelley said, you can put them on a variety of platforms that accept this kind of media, and then give it a link back to the original piece of content. In this case, one of the last presentations we did on email. So very useful tool. I like it a lot. I talk about it like I know a great deal about it. I know enough to be dangerous with them. Shelley has really mastered this particular.
Well, I found a format that I like. I like the faces, as you see, one up in the top left, one down in the bottom right, and then the waveform that's a circle will light up and flash when that person is talking, and then the words are in the center. So they change, and you have that highlight, and you can use your brand colors on Descript when you're making these. So that makes it very nice. And of course, the background, you can just go in every week to Canva. You've already got last week's in there, and you just change a few things and bring that back out and put it up in Descript. Of course, you can make social media posts out of your content. Take an image, and it could be an image from your show. It could be your face, or it could be something that you grab off of one of the copyright-free places where you can get photos, such as Pexels or Unsplash and Pixabay. And you can pull one of these photos. And this particular photo I got off of Pexels. It's two women podcasting, and then use a quote from your show, use a link to help people get back to the piece of content, the longer piece of content, whether that's your podcast, your video, or your blog, whichever one you want to promote in this, and then your hashtags, right? Because all of the social media platforms respond and use hashtags for indexing, and people can follow a hashtag or they can look up information, So what are the hashtags on this one?
I don't think my eyes are that good. Hashtag repurpose content, hashtag podcasting, hashtag content marketing.
Yeah. So if somebody's following or looking for information on content marketing or podcasting, they can type that in and they will see this pop up. Now, this is something that you can put on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter,
any of the text friendly,
LinkedIn, anything like that, and it attracts attention for you.
Yeah, I think you have to. There's part of us that divide the world up into video platforms, audio platforms, and text platforms. So an example of video is YouTube, although they just announced they're going to start putting more podcasts on YouTube. Anchor FM, Spotify, Apple Podcasts are all the audio included in the list of audio platforms. And then things like not only your WordPress blog, because Shelley, that's the expectation, but there are some text-based platforms like, as Shelley said, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, that tend to be text-based and very convenient. And of course, you're covering multiple platforms here. You're not only covering the video platforms like we're doing right now by creating this stream. You're getting traction on all the audio platforms. And if you use Anchor FM, it distributes it to multiple audio platforms that you choose. And then you're getting traction on the text-based platforms as well. Shelley has recently used LinkedIn to do a newsletter independent of the newsletter.
We'll get into that later.
Oh, are you? Okay, then I won't repeat it here.
So this is about social media posts.
Got it.
All right. Social media automation apps. I highly, highly recommend these. Now, a lot of people say, oh, you don't want to do that because it's just wallpapering everything with your, your content. I don't care. Who's going to see every post I post? Nobody, not even me, right? You're only going to see a post that I post if you're on that platform at that time that post goes up or shortly thereafter. After that, it slides on out of the feed. So if you use a social media automation app, that means you're putting your blog, your all your content, your blog, your podcast, and your video go in there, right, automatically. And then you can also create additional posts. And then it shares it out with all of your social media accounts. So I automatically have things posting to my Facebook page, my Facebook group. I have things automatically posting to Instagram, to LinkedIn, and that is something that happens automatically once it's set up. Then I can create these audiograms, and then I can insert those and then have them go out at the times and places that I designate. Now, it's also a good idea to supplement that by going into social media and commenting on other people's posts and sharing those posts out in other ways. For instance, if your social media automation sends it to your business page, but you also want it on your personal page, then you want to share it. You see it from your business page and you'll share it from there on your personal page. And that gives you double bang for your buck. So the automation is something that you set up once, and it just goes, and it's so helpful. I find it amazingly helpful, because whether I remember to post or not, or whether I have time to create those audiograms and post or not, stuff is going out every time I've done my work for the week, which is my live stream, my podcast, and my blog. Everything continues to go out. The RSS feed goes in there, and it sends it back out where it needs to go. So I highly recommend it. There are a couple of them that I use, and you just really, I would suggest going into AppSumo, looking through what they have there, and see what works for you. Everything is a little bit different, but look for the things that matter to you. So if you are putting out content every week and you want that RSS feed to automatically send things out, then you might want to look at something like Missing Letter. If you want something in social media, social web suite, we use that one as well. But if you want something that's just, you bring it in and it sprays it out for you, then Feed Hive is good for that. Now I use three of them. I'll be honest, I use three of them because I really want it to be easy and to be set up and to just go. And it kind of covers all the gaps, right? So if one has a gap, then the other one covers it, so that it's constantly spreading what we're doing all over the internet. So we are continuing to be seen every day.
I love that you say we, but we know better, don't we? So I have a couple of questions for you. When people go to AppSumo, what should they search? What kind of app should they search for?
Well, what did it say? This one you said all offers matching social web suite. So something in a social media automation is what you're looking for.
And then once you've downloaded it, started it up, sometimes they're cloud-based, but there's some learning time that goes along with it. How much time do you think it takes to learn each of these apps?
I think once you've done one, if you're going to add on another one, they're all very, very similar. They all, once you've done one, you understand. It's just like with email marketing software. Once you've done one, they're all pretty much the same. They all have the same kinds of things going on. So, but really, I set it up. It's very user friendly. Find one that's user friendly, and it just tells you, now do this, now do this, now do this, and there's not that much to it. You just set up your accounts and go.
So one of the benefits of using StreamYard is that we are live streaming now to 8 different platforms. So it's not a matter of uploading content to any of the video platforms. Then we download the audio from StreamYard and I post it to Anchor FM, and Anchor FM handles distributing it out to the audio platforms.
Well, they do a few.
Yeah, they don't do them all. You have to give others RSS feeds, but the big ones, right? They do. You have to give them credit.
They do Google, Spotify, and Apple. Well, actually, they don't even do Apple. You have to get in there and manhandle it.
So then I create the transcript, hand that over to you. You put that into a WordPress blog. So we fulfilled kind of our weekly commitment to video, audio, and blog.
Mm-hmm.
And then you take on the effort of creating additional content types. And then how much time does it take you to turn what we've already done into different content types? And how long does it take you to populate those content management and distribution apps?
Well, it depends on the app. Now, with Missing Letter and with Social Web Suite, I don't do anything with them because everything's pulled in from an RSS feed and sent out. Now, with Missing Letter, I go in every couple of weeks and I spend about 10 minutes making sure that the current thing that we're really working on the most is what we're sharing out. Yeah. And then the audiogram, creating the audiogram takes me probably, I'd say, half an hour because I have to find the right piece of conversation, and that's what takes the longest. But once I've got that down, then the rest of the audiogram is easy. It takes 10 minutes at the most to create an audiogram once you've found the piece of conversation that you want in there, and then I'll be able to put that up into FeedHive, and that just takes 5 minutes to put it up in FeedHive and have it spread out over all my social media accounts.
So I should mention that the way that Shelley and I operate is she spends some time on AppSumo finding applications that would work for us. Then she lets me know. I'll take a look at it, and we buy it and charge it to our corporate card.
Well, actually, I bought the ones for social media apps because I'm the one that uses them.
Right. But the point that I wanted to make is these are not expensive applications. You usually get a lifetime license for $29 to $49. Some of them are more expensive, but not much in terms of the fact that it's a lifetime license with upgrades and things like that. AppSumo is very good about presenting applications to you that have got a good price, under $100. Lifetime license, updates, upgrades, and you have the ability to just kind of buy it, and it belongs to you. And in some cases, they allow multiple users, so you can add users to it. We have several where I'll buy it, add my name to it, and then ask it to send Shelley an email to become one of the members of the app. I don't know how to describe it. So
but definitely take a look at it. It's a big time saver.
Yeah, time and money saver. AppSumo.
Another thing that I do is I auto send an email with the RSS feed. So when you have a blog in WordPress, you have an RSS feed that people can subscribe to. You can take that RSS feed and put that into, we use GetResponse. So I don't know if all email marketing providers offer this, but probably they do. If you have one, check into it. But all I do is I take that RSS feed link and put it into GetResponse, and then I modified their little automatic email to look like this. And every time I post a new blog on that WordPress site, it sends out this email to people and tells them it's from AGK Media Studio. Here's the name of the blog. You can listen on Spotify. Here's the links. And then it tells at the bottom, why am I getting this message? And it tells them that because Shelley has posted a blog, you're getting this email to let you know that it's there. So anybody on our email list gets an email from me that is very personalized on every Tuesday. And then on Fridays, when I publish the blog, they get this email that says, hey, the blog is up if you want to go look at it. So newsletter and LinkedIn article. That's another great place to use your content and to promote your content, show it off, share it. And here, so in my LinkedIn article or newsletter, I like to take a quote from our show and use that as part of the newsletter. So the beginning of the newsletter kind of feeds into, it's kind of more personal and more training, and it feeds into the quotes that I'm going to use from our show from the week before. And then I also embed the podcast player in the article so they can listen to the whole podcast. I can read just the excerpt, and they get this delivered to them every Monday. If they've subscribed to my LinkedIn article, they'll see it every Monday, and they'll get an email about it, and they can go read it. And within there, it's got all of this information. It's got clickable links, and usually at the end, I'll have some kind of a call to action. If this resonates with you, if you need help, you can go make an appointment with us, or you can, watch this video, or whatever it is. That call to action is there with a link. And this is all possible through LinkedIn newsletters. So it's a great way to use your content in another way, in another place. So it's the text based, and I do the same thing with my newsletter. I'll pull in something from the shows that is part of our content, and I put that into our newsletter. So reusing that, repurposing that content all the time helps it to show off who you are and what you think, and people get to know you through that. And again, once you've set it up once the first time, it becomes a template. So you kind of just copy the same method each time on just changing the specific contents.
So this is all part of the process of not only building credibility with the search engines, but building credibility with your respective audiences. And that is a consistent, I don't know if this is repetitive or not, consistency, quality, and repetition. And so don't feel bad if you kind of find yourself in a situation where I've put that on this blog, that blog, this LinkedIn. I'm putting it on Facebook, on 5 pages on Facebook, 3 pages on YouTube. One, don't feel bad about that repetition. Worry more about the quality of your content and the consistency. Don't make repetition a problem. It's not a problem. The more you repeat, you're basically building credibility with the search engines who every night are sending out crawling the internet with its spiders to find out what's out there. And the more that it notices you're producing content, it doesn't judge you. It doesn't say, oh man, this one just is bombarding me with content. They don't say that. They just say, oh, look, another piece of content, text, video, audio. And they're getting better and more progressive with that stuff. So the more you do to be consistent, produce good quality content, and repeat that out into the netherworld, the better off you are in terms of credibility.
So you can see here the next slide. If Toby ever changes it.
I like that picture.
The label for my LinkedIn newsletter. You'll see this at the top, and the name of the white label podcast was the one that I did 2 weeks ago, and this week it had a different name. And so each week is a new newsletter, but as you're creating these things, you kind of come up with a template so that you're only changing one small thing instead of everything every time. And that template it saves you a lot of time and energy. And if you're interested in finding my newsletter, my LinkedIn newsletter, you can go to newsletter.messagesandmethods.com and subscribe there.
I put that link in the chat room.
All right.
So you can click on it there.
Then the next thing we can do in order to get our content out there is to connect and share our links with our guests. If we have a guest on the show, then it's important that we connect with them. We ask them to join our email list. We ask them to subscribe to our channel and our podcast so that we're growing every week by at least one person every time we have a guest, right? We have growth. Even if it's just them, if they bring their audience along, we ask them to ask their audience to subscribe and to make sure that they share those links with their audience. We want to connect with that guest on LinkedIn, Facebook, or Instagram. A lot of times I'll link with people on LinkedIn, and then we start talking back and forth on each other's posts. So that's a great way to, get that buzz going. Share links by email, of course. Toby, as soon as we're done with a show, as soon as he's done with producing a show for somebody, he finishes all of the work, and then he sends all the links off. Okay, here's where your video is. Here's where your podcast is. Here's a copy of your transcript. So we share all that with the guest or the person who we're producing the show for. And then we tag them in posts, right? So if you're posting about them in a place like Facebook or LinkedIn, and you've connected with them on those sites, then you can tag those people. That way they're sure to see it, and they're most likely to comment and then maybe even share that post with other people. So it gets out there and grows. And it's also a good idea to share and comment on their posts. You've connected with them on those social media sites. You see something that they post, give them a like, talk to them a little bit on their post, because that helps them too. And then they're going to reciprocate for that. And again, ask for referrals for future guests. So if you have a great guest on and you say, hey, do you know anybody else who's a digital marketing expert that we could ask to be on the show? And they'll usually have somebody, because we all kind of know each other in
Mhm.
this community. So they'll give you a referral, and that helps you with your gathering of guests.
And we've had a very good experience with the women who we interviewed at She Podcast Live, because after we produced the book and let them know that it was available, we actually sent them a copy, an ebook copy of it. They've used that to promote themselves as well. Pam Uzzle especially, and Tiffany Kane used it and said, "Hey, I'm part of this book," and
Then we
started
have
talking about the book. And
we have little pictures of that coming up.
oh, we do. Okay. But the other thing that I want to mention, if you're having trouble getting guests, there are several sites that Podbooker and Podmatch being two of them. They're designed for podcasters, but most podcasters nowadays realize that some podcasters like us use live streaming as a basis, and then it becomes a podcast. So if you go to Podmatch, Podbooker, register. There's free versions of both of them. You can start connecting with people of like mind, regardless of what your topic is, what you're talking about on your programs already. And you can find like-minded individuals that you can invite on as guests. And because they're registered with Podbooker and Podmatch, that's the expectation. That's why they're there, to be invited to be on a show with someone of similar interests.
And here you see
Oops. Already
posts put up by our people who connected with us, guests we've had. They post on their social media. This is Pam Uzzell and Tiffany Kane, and these are their posts. And you can see that they shared them, all over social media, because they were on our show and they were in our book, and they were excited about sharing that information. And then, of course, you have collaboration, and that's where you can work with another person on a joint project. You can swap podcast guesting. You be on my podcast, I'll be on yours. We can write a guest blog post. We can join another podcaster as a co-host. We can co-author a book together, co-host a webinar or summit, speak at a virtual or in real life IRL event, or we will co-host a retreat or a membership group. These are things that a lot of times as entrepreneurs, we feel very isolated and alone, but there are people that we can connect with who could be referral partners, who might have the same kind of audience that we have, but we do slightly different things. So we can work together on these projects, and it benefits both of us, right? So 1 + 1 doesn't equal 2, 1 + 1 equals 10, because we spread out that much. And here you see Toby on Ty's YouTube channel for his podcast, which was just released this week. So if you're interested in listening to that, Dr. Ty Belknap has a podcast and a YouTube channel, and Toby was on there as a collaboration, because Dr. Ty was on our show, and then Toby was on Dr. Ty's show, and I'm going to be interviewing with him this week. So that swapping of podcast guesting works out really well.
And it's not unusual for the others to select collaboration, and the reason is they know we have a breadth of social media. What's the word that I want to use? Platforms. So they know we cover a lot of territory, and it's good for them to have us on their show, because they expect that we're going to do the same thing. And I did it on Facebook this morning. I took his video and promoted it on my Facebook page, and I'll do the rest of them later this evening. But he knows that, and he knows that I get great coverage on our YouTube channel, things like that. I think we've asked him 3 times to be our guest on the show. There was the initial one, then we asked him to be on our panel, then we asked him to be part of the digital marketing program, which is going to be a book. And he's very excited that he's going to be in that book as part of what we're doing there. So not only are you building these collaborative opportunities, you're building relationships that come in handy in the future, because they, as we do, when people ask us, do you know anybody who might be a guest on my program or might speak at my master class, we recommend them, and they do the same for you. And that's why these opportunities keep kind of rolling forward, because you get other opportunities as a result of the collaborations. It's really, really good approach to doing this kind of business.
And here you can see I did a livecast collaboration. One of the women that we interviewed at the She Podcasts live conference in October of 2021, Jen McFarland, she expressed that she was experiencing pod phage. She didn't want to let go of her podcast. She really, really loved it, but she couldn't find the time to do it anymore. So I stepped in and I said, how about we collaborate? I'll take over half of the duties. I set up the live cast, I set up all of that. We do the show together, and then I finish the production of it, and then she takes it and sends it out as a blog and puts on her social media automation apps. She gets it out there, and she makes sure the SEO is top notch so that it has it's growing. It grows all the time. So I get to be on it, and I get to be seen and heard, and she gets to build her business further with that collaboration. And then I did a guest blog for her as well on live streaming, and because she's such an expert at SEO and getting a lot of eyes on a blog, she took what I gave her and made it into something spectacular that then brings in a lot of readers and a lot of notice to me, again, as a writer and an expert on live streaming. So doing a guest blog post or collaborating on a podcast or a live stream is an excellent way to go to just double or even quadruple your efforts. What effort you put into it is then quadrupled because that many more people are seeing it, and you each use your expertise to make the product itself that much better. And of course, you want to talk about this? I'll give you a chance to talk.
Actually, I'm just kind of watching in amazement as you're going along. You know how much I appreciate the fact that you're getting so good at this. So one of the fun points for me in all of this effort is realizing that no matter how frustrated with writing I am, I can make a book too. It happened with Gypsy's Kiss. It happened with our new women in podcasting, and it'll happen at least 2 more times and maybe 4 times this year by compiling a book. And once you've chosen a theme for whatever show you're creating and you stick to that theme, and then you start inviting guests, whether you're doing it yourself or whether you have a guest on, you now have the ability to transcribe that, edit it, and make it become a book. So if you're an expert in, let's say, coins, specialist in treasure coins, for example, and every week you have a show about treasure coins and you invite guests on, transcribe those episodes and edit them, and you start seeing the possibility of creating a book with various chapters for each episode because you have a theme. And that theme is substantiated not only when you talk about it, or, especially if you have special subjects, like you're covering a different coin every week, something like that. And I'm just using an example because we all have hobbies and interests. As some of you know, I've reused Video Tarot to start talking about small set photography. Well, after about the 3rd show, I started making transcripts and using that as a basis for a book that may or may not include the transcripts, but it'll have the photographs associated with it. So if you start covering something as a theme consistently from week to week, you have the potential for creating a book from those transcripts. Make sure, we always recommend, of course, if you do have a guest on your show or someone is making a contribution to your show, either by presenting you the coin or sending photographs to you or where they found the coin, make sure you get a release so that you can use it not only in your show, but you can use that content in other ways, make recordings and books. So the process is very easy for us in terms of making the stream, taking the stream, downloading it, uploading it to, in our case, Descript, which is the transcription tool that we use, and then storing that in a way that you can edit it, and then eventually you can combine each of those episodes into a single package. Put that into Word. Word has a template for you that puts it into a book format very easily, and then you upload it to Amazon so that Amazon can publish it for you. Now, Amazon doesn't charge you for the production side; they charge the book. When a book is sold, they take their cut, and you get a profit from that book. You can decide whether or not you want to sell a book at cost, right? Because some people use it as a promotional tool, and you can sell the book at cost, or you can make a little profit from it. In the case of Women in Podcasting, we chose let's make a little profit, not much. It's, I think, $2, because it's more important for us to get the book sold and for people to read it and see what we've produced. Because not only do they see the work as a result of making the transcripts, but Shelley put a lot of effort into the introduction and the epilogue, kind of describing the beginning and the ending of the process that ended up in the production of this book. So honestly, if you don't necessarily want to learn about women in podcasting, but you do want to learn about the process that we went through to produce this particular book, all you have to do is read the introduction and the epilogue. And I mean, there's probably 30 or 40 pages worth of how-to in the book alone. And honestly, I'm at the stage now where I'm looking forward to the production of these books, not only because Shelley puts a lot of effort into the preparation for the book, including some editing, but this process of getting it onto Amazon. That's why I was asking her at the beginning of the first show we did today about starting to develop the cover for our next book, because I'm very excited about getting it uploaded to Amazon and having them turn it over and put it up for sale. And the last one, they tell you to expect a 72-hour wait, and the last one was basically overnight. So we were very excited about that. That means what we did in terms of production, they said okay right away. I'm going to open up that.
And it's the book, have a solid, real copy in your hands to say, I did this, I put this together, and I made this happen. And it's not that difficult, especially if you're working on the content by doing interviews or doing presentations like we're doing today. Again, this presentation will be transcribed, turned into a chapter, and put into the next book. So that's how we make a book. And that's how we stick to the timeline, and that's how we get it done. And you can do it too. Anybody can do it, as long as you have an area of expertise that you're interested in, and you keep at it. It's going to happen.
And it's exciting. I mean, it really is.
One of the nice things that I like about Podpage and being, when people register as a guest, they offer you already, they have a waiver in there, a release that people can sign, and it's perfect. We read through it, and it applies to any and all types of content. So if they agree to be on your show, then they also agree that you can use that material as whatever type of media that you choose, including a podcast or a book, or even a free PDF if you wanted to do that. So that's something that they've signed, but you just want to make sure that you do tell them as well, by the way, this is going to be a book, so that they know it, they're ready for it, they're excited about it, and they're going to share it, and they're not going to be all surprised and like, what do you mean you're making a book out of what I said? I didn't know that. Even though they signed the release, they need to know, so that they're prepared mentally for that book to come out.
It's paragraph 6, basically, where they give you permission to do that. And it's not done in an onerous way. People who are serious about making themselves available to be part of your podcast or part of your live stream are very much aware that the expectation is they're going to be asked to sign a talent release, because they know it may very well be that they're doing it themselves. we've had interviews with digital marketeers where they say I'd like to start doing this. I haven't thought about that. I post the live stream, I post the podcast, but I haven't thought about other things that cause them to think about what else they can do with these elements that they're creating. Because it is. Do me a favor and hand me that interview book, the one on the bottom there.
Oh,
thank you. That was Alexa asking questions. I wanted to point out, you can see there we go. And then I want to do that. So you can see this book is, I don't know, nearly 300 pages, right? And you actually have to prepare for that because you have to tell Amazon. We interviewed a woman who does her podcast, and she specializes in helping other women to podcast, but she created her own book on how to master the podcast interview. And this book it's published on Amazon. It's 45 pages long, you can see, but she had enough content and confidence to say to herself, you know what? I do this a lot. I know what I like and I don't like. And all she did was publish a book on Amazon, and she sells it, she promotes it, and she gives away free copies to people that she who are very kind enough because we interviewed her. So let's see. Okay, I think I've done with
we
that.
finished that slide, I think. Yeah.
That we didn't.
And
just
if you
finish.
go to books.agkmedia.studio, you can find the book on Amazon. And if you have Kindle Unlimited, you can read it for free, and you can go through all the colorful, beautiful pictures in there and just learn a lot about podcasting in general and as a woman, and what to do to set up a podcast, what to do to be able to put a book together like this, a compilation book.
So we hadn't thought about this, but have you thought about, John wants to know how he gets a signed copy of our book.
Just email us at support@agkmedia.studio and request a signed book, and we'll give you a price and take care of that for you.
Yeah. So John, the way that we do it,
Because it depends on shipping,
Right.
So we can't tell you an exact price.
we do have some.
Sound is fixed. Yay!
Yeah. Thanks for letting us know. We figured out what it was. It had to do with the YouTube update. John, just send an email to agkmedia.studio, support@agkmedia.studio. It's down here in the crawl, and we'll send you an invoice via Square, and then we'll sign the book, and let us know in your email if you'd like a special dedication. We'll be happy to sign the book and send it off to you. Okay.
It would probably be around, I think the book is $15. So it would be that plus
shipping.
Yeah.
So, and I can get pirate ship will give me the cost of shipping.
Yeah.
So we kind of figured it was you, Copper, Dan, and we very much appreciate you letting us know it was garbled. It actually had to do with Windows update last night. We restarted the computers, but didn't check how it was working with our application. So thanks very much for helping us with that. We appreciate it. So yeah, John, just send us an email, include in the email any special dedication you'd like. We'll send you an invoice, and then we'll get it signed and sent out to you. I think we still have because you've made other orders. I'm sure I have your address unless you've moved in our system. If not, I'll send you an email and let you know.
And one of the last things on the list was course and membership materials. So I was going through LinkedIn yesterday, and I saw somebody who put up a post, and he said, look, I know that it's hard to be able to afford, help and coaching and that sort of thing for live streaming. So I put this really inexpensive introductory course together, and it teaches you this, 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 this. And then he gave a price for it. And I was like, oh, well, all of that information is in our web our YouTube series that we just finished today, the Livecast Live series. It's for free on our YouTube channel. So I was kind of amazed that he was charging that much money for it when we were giving it away for free. But we could charge for it just by adding one-on-one
Membership.
coaching or membership to it, and including that as the course part of it, and then the book as the text part of it, and then offering worksheets along with it, things to fill out, and then of course having weekly membership meetings, and then we could charge for that as well. And that's something that anybody could do. So you just take your videos that you've created, or if you want to use audio clips, you can do it that way. If you're just doing podcasting, you can transcribe that and use that transcribed text for instruction on the site where you have your course. You could create a companion book like we're doing here with the book. You can create, of course, the worksheets and checklists that people can download, and you can offer the slides, if you create slides the way we do, as a PDF download to augment the materials, because some people prefer to have a hard copy of things so that they can study it or make notes, or really have it in front of them instead of having it zip by on a video. So there are so many ways that you can use your materials again and again, and repurpose them and recycle them and use them again and again. You don't always have to come up with brand new ideas every week and staying on the cutting edge of everything. Sometimes it's helpful just to take those things that were really helpful that you talked about 6 months ago and bring them back again in new ways.
And I think one of the important tools that has been made available to us is the online streaming applications. Like in our case, we use StreamYard because it has all these additional features, like showing slides, like sharing your your windows and things like that. So it enables you to create a finished product just by showing up and making it an extemporaneous, in our case, extemporaneous conversation. Now, I do know I belong to the StreamYard Facebook page, and there are several people on there that actually work from a teleprompter. And the camera is behind the teleprompter, and they basically read the script directly from the teleprompter, and that's how they built their courses using StreamYard. Because StreamYard does, at the end of this show, I'll have access to both a video, a video of the presentation, and an audio as well. And so it makes it really easy to produce that kind of content when you're looking directly at the camera, even though the camera may have a teleprompter in front of it. So it's a very good tool to use. We're very happy with it. Yeah, Copper. So the reason this conversation with Copper is going on, Copper, Dan, I should call you. I know your name is Dan, is that we started our regular show at 1 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, and Dan said that our voices were garbled. Now, he made it a point to say that our intro, which comes from a video that we have here, was not garbled. It was just our voices. And we, of course, can't hear that. It takes somebody else listening to us to let us know. And honestly, he said so. And when I saw the name, recognized who it was, I knew I could trust that person as opposed to some troll coming in and saying, hey, your voices are messed up. So we ended that show because it didn't do any good when we're producing this kind of content. It doesn't do any good to produce a show that has garbled voices. So we went back, tracked down the problem, and restarted the show. And again, this is an interesting point. So you have some options here when this happens to you. You can keep going, have a garbled production. You can stop and not do anything about it, or you can stop and say, I'm going to schedule this show in an hour, even though people are expecting me to be at a certain time. They will get a notification that I'm starting a new show, but it's more important to do it so that you have a content. We now have 1 hour's worth more quality content in our satchel, if you will. So it's there. So it's more important to do it. It might be painful to start all over again. It might be painful to look for the problem, although I pretty much enjoy that kind of work. But now you have content. So it's important to kind of follow through, go forward, push through it. right?
That's right.
And produce the content. So
You know, if you're in hell, if you're walking through hell, keep walking. Don't stop in the middle and stay in hell. Just keep walking.
And we're grateful to have viewers and friends like John and Dan to let us know when we're not sounding as good as they know we normally sound. So we're very grateful for that.
Yes.
Do I have another slide
Yes.
here? I do. All
That's
right.
right. So there's a picture of our free training that we put together. Um, and if you're interested in getting that free training, it's the Creative Campaign Producers Training. You can find it if you go to our website, AGK Media
Studio.
AGKmedia.studio, and it will, the first thing that pops up says, if you want this, start here. You click that button and you'll be able to get into the free training from there. It's really well laid out. It's short and to the point about how to do live streaming, podcasting, and blogging all at the same time, and why you want to do that for your business.
Honestly, Dan, I would much rather listen to Shelley than I would to me. Her voice is very soothing, and whether it's garbled or not, she still sounds better than I do. So, all right, I think this is, there we go.
And sign up for our newsletter, our updated newsletter that comes out every Tuesday. It's very personal, and it's also very informational for people in the digital marketing field or people who want to know more about how to expand their brand and business online. And it's got great information in there. It's got fun photos. It's got free offers and training and books and all kinds of great stuff. So go to news.agkmedia.studio to get signed up for that.
So I get it. I get it every Tuesday, and I go through it because I am always pleased to find that Shelley talks about things that I didn't know she was going to talk about. It's always very informative, and I do have to admit that I'm not the best writer in the world. I don't have the patience for it. Shelley not only has the patience for it, but she's an excellent writer. She composes and beautifully, and always with a purpose in mind. So I've learned to respect her writing. As a matter of fact, whenever we're preparing shows or something like that, and she starts looking at what I'm writing, she'll say just something. At that point, I slide the keyboard over to her because she is so much better at that than I am. So please read it.
And that's the end of our presentation for content management and distribution, which of course, it doesn't do you any good to live stream, podcast, and blog every content once it's been made. So that is the piece that is, the second half of creating the content, is then doing something important with that content, not just, letting it go and there, well, we did that and move on.
Yeah, and don't be upset if you're not building up your video and audio platform subscriber base as quickly as you would like. The real benefit in doing what we're doing and what we recommend you to do is that you're building credibility in a broad variety of ways, from video to audio to got one more.
To blogs.
To blogs. Rusky.
Okay, well, that's all we have for today. We really appreciate you guys coming back and joining us for the 2:00 version of the 1:00 show. We hope that you will join again tomorrow at 11 o'clock Mountain Standard Time, 10 a.m. Pacific. Jen and I will be on Women Conquer Business talking about productivity and how do you measure your productivity and calculate, how much you're getting done and what that's worth. And then Toby and I will be on at 1 o'clock tomorrow, Mountain Standard Time, on the Video Tarot Live channel, talking about small set photography and professional photography tips and tools.
And if you're at all interested, if you go to follow.videotarot.com.
Yes.
Follow Video Tarot Live. Follow videotarot.com.
Yes.
That will take us to our Amazon subscription, our Amazon Live, because that show starting tomorrow, finally, is going to Amazon Live, and Amazon creates kind of a little format for us that is kind of is much easier to use and understand. So look for us on follow.videotarot.com and join us tomorrow. All right. Last words.
There's another comment, so I don't know.
I'm telling you, it's the Russians. Oh, okay.
So Copper and John are Russian now. You guys are so professional. To tune in more. Well, we hope that you do. And we're here. Well, I'm here 3 times a week, and Toby's here twice a week.
Yeah. Not counting the productions that we do for other folks. And John says, have a great evening. Thank you, John. It is always good to see you as well. We enjoy seeing friends that we've known for a long time through various iterations of what we live stream. So
that's right.
We're grateful that you're here. All right, guys, we'll see you tomorrow if you join us on our other programs. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for joining Messages and Methods Livecast Live 2.0, hosted by Shelley Carney and Toby Eunice. Please subscribe and leave a comment or question, and we'll consider your ideas for future shows. Share this podcast with your family and friends so they can learn about current digital marketing practices too. Check the show notes for links and resources, and please come back again next week.